What is up, everyone? This is BigPowner. This is part 3 of the Delve project. The whole point of this project is to get a realistic idea of what the actual earnings in Delve are. The reason why I'm doing this is because every season it is the same thing. It is just wild claims that are nowhere near what's actually being earned. Um, I was a little bit surprised early on in my first two episodes on the earnings. They were a little bit higher than I expected. Um, and as I mentioned in the last video, seeing it double, if it were to continue along this trend, we could actually see a place where delving becomes reasonably profitable. But what has it also said? I doubt that this is going to happen. I'm going to explain to you more of how Delve works because I don't think most people understand how Delve works. So, in this area, as you can see, it's item monster level 83. And as you can see, if we go way back here, it's always going to be 83 once we hit 83, which is around 170. Yeah, 170, it switches to 83. Then the monster level will never increase. This explains why 100 to 200 saw such a big increase. It's essentially, as I've explained in the other videos, it's like going from yellow maps to red maps. Is there a huge increase going from white maps to red maps? Yes. Did I expect now for this 200 to 300 where the monster level is no longer increasing, did I expect there to be better earnings? Yes. Did I expect them to continue? Was my guess that they would continue to go up at two times every 100 delves? That was not my guess. And I wish that I could say that I was wrong and I started making crazy currency and Delve is getting really profitable. However, let's look at the earnings. There we go. Let's look at the earnings. This is everything that I made from 200 to 300. Took me 110 delves, 48 maps of sulfite to have enough to do this. I do have leftover sulfite because I'm stocking in larger amounts now, up to 46,000 sulfite capacity. I'm well over the. I'm one upgrade over the comfortable amount to do the double Nikos without overflow. So what is it that I earned? I earned 707 chaos based on current market prices for everything. This is actually less total currency than I earned in 100 to 200. However, it is higher per delve. I had 6 more delves in 100 to 200 than I did in 200 to 300. So it was a very, very slight increase. It is 6.427 chaos per delve. And 100 to 200 was 6.26. We had about 3 chaos per delve in up to 100. So what does this mean? In 100 delves, our average currency gained has only increased by 0.18 chaos per delve. This is absolutely horrible. Um, uh, because even if we just look at the increase to the amount of time stocking, we're for our time invested, we've probably actually made less in this set of delves. So why is it that the currency didn't keep on going up like crazy? This is the thing that most people don't understand about Delve. Delve is basically a map that, you can find fossil nodes. See right here, it's got basically what look like map mods. And what is the main thing that determines how profitable a map is other than the tier of the map? Because we're basically playing tier 16. We're basically playing Elder maps, but Blight Elder maps. And that's all we'll be playing after we hit past that. What was it? 170? Then all maps, all of the Delve maps are Elder maps. So 24% quantity and 16% rarity is what I'm getting on this map. What was it when we started? So this was our first one, so let's look at this one right here. We were at 20% quantity, 14% rarity. They do differ a little bit in the same area. Well, these ones are all about the same. Yeah, this one went down a little bit, but they're all going to be about in the same area. That one's really bad. They're all gonna differ a little bit, but the thing is, in general, the highest ones that we are finding in this area are going to be around 24%. You can look around, and these other ones are lower. So in general, the best maps at Delve 300 are 24% quantity and 16% rarity, what were the best ones in the early, in the 200 range, 20% with 14% rarity. So the top end of the maps has gone up of the Delve maps has gone up by 4% and 2%. This explains why we didn't see a big increase in the gains, because the delve maps have not gotten much better in 100 delves. To give you an idea of why delve, in my experience, I mean, you can tell me there's some guy telling you that, a week into this you're making 60 exalts and he's making a mirror a day and all that stuff. But quite frankly, that's bullshit. It's just flat out lies. And why is that? Why can I confidently say that? First of all, every season, it's the same thing. Second of all, nothing has changed in Delve. No notes in the patch notes. There's nothing been added this season. The mechanics have not changed. You can go look at the patch notes yourself. Nothing has changed in Delve. In fact, it's gotten worse. I have friends that's what they do is delve. Every season, they go deep in delve. And what's their opinion? I'm telling you, these people are way past 99.99% of players will ever get. They're already past it. And I asked for their feedback on what they thought about the currency this season in delve. And they're going to be realistic to me. They're going to give me the truth because they're experts on delve. And, they have no reason to lie to me. And what was all of their reactions? Delving this season is terrible for currency. I asked them why. Well, it's the exact same thing it is every season, but this season the fossils are cheap. Why are the fossils so much cheaper? There's a bigger supply of them. Metamorphs drop lots of fossils. If we go and we look at the average price of fossils for this season, we can see that there's only one fossil in the PC community that's over an exalted orb. And it's really rare. So there's only one fossil that can drop that can get us an exalted orb. The next highest one, which is only one, is 111. And then it drops big from there. It goes down to 73, then 47, then 29, then 22. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fossils worth more than 20 chaos. And they're the rarest fossils. So the main thing that you can find in delve is fossils, and they're not very valuable. Experts in this subject that are friends, have no reason to lie to me, are telling me that all of those claims that I've heard are bullshit, just like they are every season. My experience is my earnings are nothing like the claims. The things that my friends are telling me, who are, past depth 1000, they're saying it's terrible. And they're delve players. They love delve. They do delve every season. That's what they like, and that's fine. If you like delve, great. Just don't lie about how much it is you're earning, and especially don't lie to other players and mislead them into thinking that they're going to be making 30 exalts every gaming session, 60 exalts every gaming session, a mirror. It's just bullshit. I mean, I'm now over 300 delves in, and my total earnings is 12.49 exalted orbs. That's absolutely horrible. I mean, I would expect more. I would expect more currency running 300 and something yellow maps, and I ain't got to do stocking to do that. Um, it's just really bad. Um, and if I was seeing the currency continuing to go up for no reason that can be explained by the mechanics of the delve, um, and maybe there was some magical fairy that was added to it that's making it so that, you know, everyone's getting 30 to 60 exalted orbs every session in delve. But, you know, I ain't found that magical fairy, and none of my friends that have done thousands of delves this season have found that magical fairy either. It's the exact same thing it's been every season. I'm sorry to break the news, but delving's really bad for currency. Um, I'm gonna continue this project a little bit more, but I mean, the data shows it. Um, and you know, there's lots of claims that get past delve 200, get around 300, and it's gonna be this good. And you know, this proves it ain't anywhere near those claims. And every season, the claims start around depth 200. And then when you get there, you ask someone and they're going to tell you to go deeper. And it's going to be amazing if you go another 100 depth. And then you get to that 100 depth, and once again, the claims do not add up. And then what does it people tell you? You got to go deeper, got to go deeper, got to go deeper. Is it gradually going to get small, very smallly better? Yes, because slowly we're going to get a little bit more quantity, a little bit more rarity. But to give you an idea, in 100 delves, the average top quantity and rarity is 24 from 20. A bad, like the absolute worst tier 16 map, if you chisel Alk Vault and then throw fragments into the atlas and open it in Awakener 8, your map's going to be around 120% quantity. Because 20% added to, like, you know, around 70 is a really, really bad, like, absolute worst map that you can roll. That's pretty much as bad as they get. I think the absolute worst is like 60, like around 65, 64, something like that. But that's like a unicorn bad roll. On average, you're going to get somewhere in the middle, which would be more like, you know, 80 to 110, 120. Like that's the average range. It's like 80 to 120 when you're doing that method. But even to just get to a place where delve is reaching, you know, a bad map, crafted map, like a map you're doing for currency, how deep is it you have to go? Well, if it follows this pattern of 4% increase on average every 100 depth, and we're at 24% right now, we're talking about another 96 quantity we need to add to our delve maps, which what is 96 divided by 4? We're talking about what? 20 26 maps, 26 sets of 100 depth. So another 2,600 delves down, not actual. It obviously takes us more than one for every one, because sometimes it goes sideways or you get off track. So you're talking about around depth 2,900. It'll be equivalent to lower rolled crafted maps for farming currency. So, based on the drop mechanics, around 2,900 delves depth, you will reach a place where you have the same chance to get currency loot from maps as you will have from your 2,900 delve. Does that sound like a good farming mechanic? And are there going to be some people that are just getting really lucky in delve and are doing well? Yes. there may be a couple people out there that are just really, 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 really lucky. But the thing is you can be lucky anywhere. And it doesn't matter where you are. The fact is because one person gets lucky for a little bit of time does not mean that everyone's going to get lucky. This is what you're going to see if you do this. You're going to see something close to this. And if, 100,000 people were to do this exact same experiment, the average of all those players' income would probably come out to something almost exactly like this. Because some people would be more unlucky and some people would be really lucky, but most of the people are going to fall into this range because this is a random number generated loot system. Which means, if a Mirror of Kalandra drops 1 out of a million, or it's worse than that, that's just how it works. So over the long run, it's going to all average to look something like this. My average could be a little bit high, it could be a little bit low. But in general, outside of getting some crazy lucky drop like a Mirror of Kalandra, the loot's going to look in general about the same for everyone. And if the claims were true that everyone's going to be making this crazy currency, I'd be making that currency too. The reason why I can say that is because if that's the average that's dropping, I would be getting something close to those numbers. If you have believed someone that's told you something like this, the thing that you need to do, you can not believe what I'm saying. You ain't gotta believe me, but believe the proof in yourself. If someone tells you that you're going to put a week into delving and you're going to start making 30 to 60 exalted orbs, and you put a week into delving and you're making results like this, you need to be like, I was lied to, because you've proven it yourself. You did what they told you to do and you didn't get any results. So stop supporting shit like that. That's the reason why there's so much of this non-information clickbait stuff that's not helpful. And as long as people are supporting it, that's all it's going to be out there to view. And this isn't a new thing of people saying Delve is super more crazy better than it is. They do that every season about every single thing. And with Delve, it's literally the exact same pattern every season. Did I get a little bit excited again this season? When I went into this, I went into it realistically, and I was like, it's going to suck. I'm going to take the losses so that I can make these videos. I did fall prey to it a little bit, because I think early on in the delve, I think I had a little bit of a luck streak. I think I got a little bit lucky, honestly. I think I was on a little bit of a good run early on in the delving. And it gave me the hope with all the false claims. I thought maybe this season it has gotten better. And then I started talking to people who are experts on it, that aren't trying to lie to get clicks, misleading people and stuff like that. People who are actually, like I said, way past any depth that I'm ever going to go to. And they confirmed for me that it ain't gonna happen. They confirmed that my results are right. This is what I should be expecting. And even at their super deep depths, they ain't seeing, 30, 60 exalts, which I guarantee most people are not like, I'm gonna get to Delve 1000 or Delve 2000 or Delve 3000 so that I can start making decent currency, or are going to do Delve for 1,000, see that it's still not making them 30 to 60 exalts in a gaming session, and then be like, well, I guess I just have to do another 1,000 delves, because now they're saying that at 2,000 I'm going to start making crazy currency. I don't know. If you still want to believe it, you can believe it, but my suggestion is to not lie to yourself, because these are the facts of 100 to 300. I have made a total in over 300 delves, 12.4962 exalted orbs, and that is not counting any of my cost. So I had to use 8 maps for this, which took me an average of 2 map rolls to get one map over 100% quantity. I chisel, alkvald all of the maps. Someone told me that they were selling maps. If I applied the cost of maps that they said that they were selling and buying maps to, I would be at a massive loss, because these are all of the tier 15 and 16 maps that I got, which are the only maps that you're really going to be able to get groups or going to want to use for stocking, because otherwise, if you use lower quantity maps, it's going to take you more maps to stock up. If you use a bad tier map, it's going to take more time to find a party, because no one's going to want to party with you. Like the lowest parties I ever see people grouping in is 90 plus, and I rarely see those. Like, I mean, you can try it yourself. Try getting a group with a map that's 90% or less. You're gonna have a hard time. Um, I find groups real fast when I post a 140% quantity map and tell them I got Awakener 8 and I'll quad frag it for over 200% quantity. But if I post a shitty map, I ain't gonna get that. Something else I'd like to say, I had to use 16 maps just for this set of data. I think it was actually more, but we're gonna be nice on the average and say every 2 maps I try, I get over 100 quantity. So, these maps that drop, none of them would be useful. These are all trash. This is the only one that's even close to 100% quantity. I could add frags to this, and I could advertise that. I could say I'll add 4 frags. It'll be 118%. With my Awakener 8, it would be like 150% map. However, it has elemental reflex. No one's going to want to play with me on that map. So essentially, I had 6 maps that I could have tried. 3 of them, based on the odds, would have wound up as usable maps, which means I would have had 5 extra maps that I had to craft at cost, which the person was saying they sell them for between 5 to 10 chaos. If I were to take and be counting my maps, I haven't been because I have thousands of maps, and I never count maps as profit or cost. But if I was, and maybe you don't have a lot of maps, so that would become a factor, because I've gone through a lot of maps trying to get my 100 plus quantity maps, and a lot of chisels, because every single time you roll one of these maps, it's 4 chisels, an alk, a vol. And if all you're doing is delving, any of those maps that fall under the requirements or wind up with a reflect on them are basically garbage. And trying to sell an elemental reflect map, hardly no one's going to want to buy it, because most people that are going to be buying these maps are probably people low on maps that are trying to do soul fight runs, which, if the main thing that people require in the soul fight runs is no reflect, that makes this map essentially garbage. So let's say 5 maps. I have to roll 2 to get each one. That's 10 maps. I have the cost of all of my maps, so 8 maps, to get them there, which 16 maps, because I'm gonna have to chisel all of them. So like 50 chaos if we count each of the maps at the low price that someone was saying that they sell for. So if I bought 10 maps at 5 chaos a piece, that would be 50 chaos. Adding the cost of the chisels, the alk, and the vol would be like another 25 to 30 chaos. So yeah, we're talking about like low end guess, like probably around 65 to 75 chaos extra, which takes away over 10% of our profit, which would result in us making less than 6 chaos per delve. Our total average was 5.4 chaos per delve from the beginning, which then, if we take the cost of these, which a lot of these I was running by myself, if you did it as a group, this would be much lower. However, you'd only be able to do single Nikos. But, I'm not going to add all that cost, because maybe you were doing single Nikos the whole time, so it would have only taken you like 6, 7 maps. So that would be essentially just be doubling the cost. The early ones you'd have to do yourself. So that would be another 6. So we could call it an extra 12. So, it would basically be tripling the cost, like 200 and something chaos, which would mean that from the total of all of the maps, it was 1687. If we took 200 chaos out of that, we'd be at 1487. Um, which is a pretty big decrease. We're losing basically an eighth of our profit off of the top. Instead of having 5.4 total gained, now we're getting close to like 4 chaos per delve, which is really bad. Even worse than it was before. Then when you start actually factoring in all of your time for stocking, because as you get deeper, sulfite cost gets greater. You can see this took me 6 stocking times, then 37, and now I'm at 48. This is just going to keep on going because sulfite costs will just keep on rising. Which, you know, with as small as the increase in the quantity and rarity is, it's like all the extra currency we can gain because it's such a small increase is basically taken up by our extra stocking time. It's just, I hope that I've given a good explanation of how you should look at delving so that you can really understand what it is that you're making for your time invested. Um, could I have on one of my could I have had like every single one of my my red fossil nodes wind up going super lucky and they drop the most expensive fossil and they drop like 5 of them and I make 5 exalts from each one, um, which, you know, on average for each 100 I'm probably encountering like 3 of those, um, which even if every single one of those dropped 5 faceted fossils, that would be like 6 extra exalts. That would have been like what? Let's say I hit 3 on every single 100 delves, and all of them dropped the most expensive fossil, 5 of them. That would be 18 extra exalts, which would put my chaos per delve to like 16 chaos per delve, which uh, I mean that's well not even 16. 14.5 is 5.4, so 16 would make it like 12 chaos per delve. I mean, so even a hypothetical situation where every single one of our super rare nodes are dropping the absolute best case scenario and dropping 5 of them, the delving still isn't. Even in that case, I mean, 12 chaos per 12 chaos per delve is still not getting to a place where it's like, you know, crazy loot, man, crazy loot. Um, because when you look at all of the time invested and stuff like that, it's just it's not that great. Um, I just want you guys to look at this realistically. Um, I'm gonna continue this. My expectations for the next 100 is that it's gonna barely increase in what I've earned. Um, I'm gonna guess based on this pattern that I'm going to have 60 times I have to stock. So I'm guessing like 60 stocking times, and I'm gonna guess that I'll be generous and say 7 chaos per delve. I'm gonna say I think this should have increased a little bit more. I think I was barely on the low side for this 100 set, so I'm gonna say that maybe I'll get a little bit lucky on the next one. I'll go up to like 7 chaos per delve for the next 100 depth. We'll see if I was right. The next 100 is probably going to be my last 100. Just being honest, I want to actually start making currency. I got a lot of other projects. I got a lot of requests to do crafting, and I can't do crafting making this kind of currency. Just plain and simple, I can't afford to do it. Um, I will have no currency if I start doing crafting while I'm doing delving. Um, just a simple fact. I'll be broke as shit. I'll be super broke, man. I'll be broke, broke, broke. No currency to craft. Content's over, because I delve. Anyways, I hope that this information is helpful. Thanks for watching. Peace.